you're not a race car shop.
No.
And this is all race car stuff that you really don't like.
No, strictly race. I don't do racing.
Like the Trans Am was up here. You worked on it, but you don't like it.
No.
So, yeah, that's the engine computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not your wheelhouse, right?
No, I go in there and start diving in. I don't know what they did. There's no schematics. There's nothing. I don't know.
Welcome to Hoovie's Garage, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube, and this is my 1970 Plymouth Superbird resto mod. It was originally a 426 Hemi Superbird that was a race car. It was wrecked, and then it was restored, or rather resto modded, into this crazy thing that was a complete basket case. I bought it with numerous unknown or undisclosed issues, and the car wizard has been diligently working through all of them, but he's sort of reached the point where some things may be unfixable, at least for him and its current setup. So really it's kind of a bummer, or not kind of, it actually is a bummer, but that's the reality of buying a resto modded car like this that wasn't built with an open checkbook, rather somebody who, well, kind of hastily put it together to sell at an auction just to make it look pretty, and it is very, very pretty, but not really caring about what it's like for the next owner. And then 10 years later, well, I'm the one dealing with this mess, unfortunately. But before we get into it, I can actually drive this car today and see some improvements. Let's go through all of the other things going on in the shop. There's a lot of progress, a lot of good progress in the wizard. What's the wizard doing? But before we tour the projects and get more bad news on the Superbird, I'd like to thank Policy Genius for sponsoring today's video. With winter upon us, icy roads and deep freezes can lead to even worse news than an unfixable Superbird, especially if you don't have enough or the right insurance. Policy Genius can save you tons of money, as it's America's leading online insurance marketplace. I've gotten great feedback from viewers about using Policy Genius, and if you've been holding out, do yourself a favor and try it out. Policy Genius makes it easy to compare home and auto insurance in one place, and they can help you find home and auto coverage similar to what you have now, but at a lower price. They've saved shoppers up to $1,250 per year over what they were paying for home and auto insurance. Even if you're happy with your current coverage and it seemed cheap when you first got it, from my experience, rates start low, then increase over time to the point that you're eventually overpaying, so it makes good sense to shop rates every few years. And when you have a hoopty fleet like mine, insurance is very important, but not only to have the best value on insurance, but the best coverage for what you need, and Policy Genius is here to help. Getting started with Policy Genius is easy. First, go to policygenius.com/hoovies and answer a few quick questions about yourself and your property. Then the Policy Genius team takes it from there. They'll compare rates from America's top insurers, from Progressive to Allstate, to find your lowest quotes. The Policy Genius team can look for ways to save you more, including bundling your home and auto policies. If they find a better rate than what you're paying now, they'll switch you over for free. Their top-notch service has earned Policy Genius thousands of 5-star reviews across Trustpilot and Google. So support me and my generous regular sponsor. You going to their site helps you and helps me. So go to policygenius.com/hoovies and save yourself some money.
Wizard? Wizard? Are you watching paint dry?
Yes, actually I am.
A slow day in the office?
Well, I'm doing some, on your 355, I'm repainting the valve covers.
Oh, these are the valve. Yeah, they were peeling. And it has, you got the crinkle red paint for it?
Yes.
I didn't tell you to do that.
Well, I kind of want to make it look nice for you and possibly me in the future.
I see you're planting a seed there, but
yes.
Also the drivetrain of the 355 is not on the ground, it's on something fancy, right?
Yeah, I bought a table, a 2,000-pound hydraulic lift table. We put some wood blocks on it so it's a nice soft surface for it to set on.
So this is a 1996 Ferrari F355 with a gated manual transmission. The first one of these I had burned to the ground before we did the major on it because of a fuel fitting issue. This one's been fixed, but we discovered that the timing belts were ancient on it, among other things. This table is gonna make things nice and easy, huh? But
yeah.
It's also wooded.
Yeah, we just put the wood there so it's something soft for it to rest on, not metal.
I mean, people bemoan the engine out on these things, having to do it every 5 or 7 years or when something major breaks, but as far as taking it out, you all had it out pretty darn quick.
Yeah, Daniel's son actually had it out. He started about 8 in the morning and he had it out by lunch.
So there's something to be said about a car that's just designed to have its engine taken out relatively easily, and ease of access and all that, and you're ordering a lot of bits, so
Yes.
$5,000 in parts, which are coming soon, which we'll do another video, I guess, when that all arrives, and putting on and back into the car that looks really sad without its glorious engine in there.
It's kind of like an empty soul, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a kit car without it. And speaking of, engines, Audi R8, anything?
Yes.
You've got parts off, so that's the airbox?
Yep, that's the airbox. Magic Mike's actually been diagnosing it. He found that the crank sensor, the resistance reading is really high on it. The sensor itself is bad. We also found a lot of kind of hack job wiring. You can see that's been spliced over there with blue. We're not sure what they were doing there. Magic Mike has rerouted it to the correct areas, the wiring, just for testing. And once we figure out and we get it right, then we'll make it nice. And
I see.
we did have it actually running a little bit. It tried to run, which it wasn't doing before.
Yeah, I bought this for my wife for Christmas. Supposedly a running car, shows up not. And, well, it's a little on the ugly side with the wing and all that stuff, but it was only $40,000. So if it doesn't need an engine or a transmission, I'll be fine, because these things are, mid-60s for normal, nice examples now. So it's the cheapest R8 in the USA, but maybe you don't buy your wife R8 project.
Probably not.
Yeah. So the DB7 is still here, and the latest episode of Car Issues with you and I is live now, actually, with the Aston Martin, which went through a pretty amazing trial. Take a look.
Wow.
A beautiful 2002 Aston Martin DB7, 420 horsepower.
James.
The baddies are giving chase. Oh, geez. King paintballs. It's so hard to aim an Aston Martin. Got him in the face like John Wick.
But that paintball and shooting, all that stuff, didn't cause the problems that it has with the window, right? You had the modules rebuilt on it?
We had both window modules rebuilt by my guy in Florida, and that brought that door back to life, but that one, the actual door motor, the window motor itself was bad.
Yeah, it was acting up a little bit before, but now you're saying it's still broken. Bob bought this thing. Well, before we get to the bad news on the Superbird, there was more bad news on this old Porsche. So my 79 911 SC has turned into quite a mess. It showed up, you actually got it running for a few moments, but there was smoke everywhere. It had broken head studs, which is really common with this motor, and unfortunately, it had some really stuck ones. So I was originally quoted $4,000 to basically fix, semi-rebuild the engine, but they're so stuck in there that it needs a full split case, machine shop, everything. So that just all doubled.
You're starting off the new year with a bang.
It doubled, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
And the car, well, it's a Rat Rod 911, which is kind of cool, but I did not want to spend $8,000 on an engine rebuild for it. And on top of that, I'm probably going to go with a carburetor setup, which is another $3,000. There's going to be tuning with that. Leonard, who you all met not long ago, because he's going to do the orange Porsche, the 930 turbo swapped 74 Carrera. He's working on it still diligently, but I stepped in it here. I'm going to be $40,000 into this hoopty 911 after the interior and everything else, and
Yeah.
probably not a good decision, but that's not what this channel's for, right?
Right, this channel wouldn't exist on good decisions.
Yeah, so the Jeep was also up here. Had some leaks after car trek. We threw it through the gauntlet up a mountain in Breckenridge and everywhere else, and it did great, but it was leaky, so no big deal.
Nope, just needed a new transmission pan gasket. We went ahead and did that, and did a filter, and did a few other small things, but other than that, that's all it needed.
Nice. Well, check out Car Trek and see everything that this Jeep did if you haven't already. We bought the Dream 3-car garage for under $30,000-ish. It kind of went sideways a little bit, but we tried, and I think it's the best one we ever did. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please have a look. And now I procrastinated long enough, so Superbird time. I see fans, Wizard.
Yes.
I also see the suspension is back on. So are we suspensioning?
Yes, it has proper coilovers on it now.
It moves.
It moves.
It bounces. Okay. So it runs, it drives.
We have a new vacuum pump right there that actually a Car Wizard fan donated for you.
Really?
Jeremy Brickles was his name.
Well, that's nice of him. So it's a quieter running vacuum pump, because initially there was one here, you can still see the remnant of a bracket here, and then another one under there to operate the headlights, and it was louder than the engine, which is a racing engine. I mean, it sounded like two butt trumpets basically going. I mean, just it's just constant. So that's gone.
You can't even hear that pump run, and it works the headlights perfectly.
Awesome. Okay.
We got your horn fixed, we got the speedometer fixed, and we got several other things fixed, but we're running into trouble with the engine wanting to overheat while it's sitting at idle.
A lot of the wiring stuff just wasn't hooked up.
Right.
And you notice like the fuel gauge didn't work because
the wiring wasn't hooked up.
They never bothered to hook it up.
Nope.
Which, unfortunately, there's a lot of cars out there where somebody's just kind of slapping it together just to sell. And if you're not somebody building it with a customer that has an open checkbook to say do whatever it takes, if you're trying to build something to, make a profit, obviously, then you're going to cut corners if you have to or where you can, depending on your level of, integrity, I suppose. And everybody's looking to make money, obviously, and you're buying a car at auction, you got to expect it's not going to be perfect. But this one was, yeah. So this isn't the numbers matching Hemi motor. It's obviously a big racing race car Hemi. And it's still overheating, huh?
Yeah, it runs fine and everything like that, but Danielson, actually the guy who was working on it, believes that the tune that's on here with the timing and the fuel rate and everything is so high for most power that it's overdoing the cooling system.
Interesting.
I think if it was dialed back a little bit, which we can't do here, I don't really do tuning.
You're not a race car shop.
No.
And this is all race car stuff that you really don't like.
No, strictly race. I don't do racing.
Like the Trans Am was up here. You worked on it, but you don't like it.
No.
So, basically, I got to take it somewhere else, huh?
There's some shops in Wichita that do tuning, I think.
It doesn't run that great either as far as cold starts, as far as idling. It is pretty unlivable in its current setup, so it would need a tune anyway. And since it's all custom, I mean, we saw this in the glove box. It's a... Yeah, that's the engine computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not your wheelhouse, right?
No, I go in there and start diving in. I don't know what they did. There's no schematics. There's nothing. I don't know.
Yep.
Not my wheelhouse.
Well, I guess I'll drive it, see how the suspension feels, see how the car feels, and then I can decide what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Thank you, Wizard.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I mean, just hearing that vacuum pump, it's 1,000 times quieter. And now it runs? I mean, it's cold, but you can see what I mean. It just doesn't run all that well, so a tune could definitely help this thing. It's trying to stall on me right now. It's not happy. It needs... Oh yeah, though. Well, the suspension though, let's just hit a bump on purpose. Oh yeah, that's fixed. What I liked about these when I drove one years ago at the Midwest Dream Car Collection is how nice of a cruiser that these were. Kind of a land yacht, because it's based on a land yacht platform, even though it looks like a crazy race car. And now we have that nice ride. Thank goodness. And we have the meep horn. And we have lights that work, I assume. Can't really see them on that big nose, but I'm sure they're working. So obviously a lot of progress. The car rides great, it feels great, and you got to give the Wizard credit for saying, hey, this just isn't in my wheelhouse and I can throw a bunch of parts at it, but I really don't know. I'd feel more comfortable having it done at a race car shop or a custom car shop that builds these for a living, and I totally get it. I'll find the right place to take it to. We'll get this thing to the finish line, and the Wizard can keep on keeping on. Thank you so much for watching. This thing definitely has some scoot though. We can give it a rump now that it's warmed up. Wow. Oh yeah, that rides so much better. Thank goodness.